Hello, welcome back to Steve's Retirement Corner. My automatic retirement plan. Hey man, I get this video idea for this video from a comment I got on a video a couple videos back. I think it was that low effort retiree video. It's from Caregiver Life. Actually, I'm wearing the same shirt as I was wearing back then. That was a couple weeks ago. I just looked at the video so I could get his name. I like to credit people if they give me a good idea. But I think it was a great question he had. And evidently, a bunch of y'all did too, because he had a bunch of likes on his comment. So I figured I'd just straighten things out about it. It's nothing I ain't never said, but it's been in bits and pieces over the course of a bunch of videos over the years. So a lot of people already know. But they were wondering if how much effort I put into building the retirement plan that made it low effort, or if it happened, just kind of happened. And it just happened, man. Honestly, man, probably 90% or better of my retirement, it just worked out that way. I didn't do a darn thing to make it happen. You know, it was dictated to me. I had very little options, and when I did, there was usually only two that worked, and there was always one standout decision to make. It was easy. You know, anybody would have made the same daggone choices I did. You know, I didn't do anything outrageous. And it really it boils down all the way down to my daggone 401. I only had three options, man, to get my money out of there. Leave it till I was 70, and then take it all out. That didn't work. I needed money to live on. I could have rolled it into a 401 the day I left. I mean, an IRA the day I left. That would work, and I could take out a lot less money. I can take out what I need instead of what they tell me I got to take out. But I got stuck with that 10% penalty. It wouldn't have made no difference in how things worked or not. I just didn't like the idea of paying that 10% for no reason, just because I needed my money. The only other option left to me was the 10-year payout. You know, I could leave my money in that 401, take out what I need to live on, and avoid the 10% penalty. When I get 59 and a half, I can move it. I moved it into an IRA, just cause, not for no reason, but just cause I get better control over it. What I get to pull out, what account it comes out of, and all that other junk. You know, the thing is, I was locked into that. Once you start, they send you that money every year. You know, and the way they figure it is they divide your account balance by how many years you got left to pull. Like next year, I have, this coming January, I'll have 5 more years to pull. But I'm in an IRA, I'm into an IRA now. I mean, if you get 500 grand in that sucker, and you divide it by 5, man, that's 100 grand. You add that to my little pension, it's 17. But you figure 120 grand a year, man, I ain't never made that much money in my life. In 1 year, and I had multiple jobs just about my whole life. That's more than the daggone median household income in this whole county. There ain't no way in the world that we can spend that kind of money reasonably. Now, I can go nuts and I can spend it in a day. But I mean, that solves just about every problem, financial problem I'll ever run into, the way they figure it, the way I get my money, the rules they had for getting your money. It totally eliminates, because it's a 10-year payout. It totally eliminates my daggone any chance we have for RMDs being a problem later in life, because at 67, my money would be gone out of that account. There's nothing, they're going to have to force me to pull any kind of money out. That limits my taxes that I'm going to have to pay. You know, since the way they figured, and I get too much, all that extra money, I mean, that solves all my daggone inflation problems, it solves my daggone emergency fund, it solves any money we wanted to do with anything, and we still got left over, man. You know, that solved just about every daggone problem I could have. That one decision, which wasn't even a daggone decision, man. And I did the same thing for everything for my daggone retirement, you know. And that's why it doesn't, I ain't chasing the, you know, I don't need 7, 8, 9, 10% interest to make it work. It works fine on 3, 4, 5%. That's why I ain't chasing a dollar. You know, if I get 7, 8, 9, 10%, now I ain't gonna turn it down. But I don't need it to make the plan work. You know, I made a little tweak here and there just to personalize it. I didn't have to do a darn thing. I'd like to take credit for the plan, man, but I can't, man. It just happened. It just worked out that way. You got to figure, I decided to retire at 57, and you know, that was before I knew that those were my options for getting money. And that carries me all the way to 67, my full retirement age for Social Security. You know, it just, everything just come together. There's not a whole lot that I did to do it other than tweak it. You know, for my health insurance, I had 2 options, man. I looked at about 6 or 7 different options, paying for it on my own, getting daggone VA. I don't qualify for that. You know, one of them health shares account, that's not insurance, man. They can turn you down anytime they decide to turn you down, and you ain't got no recourse. You know, the only really 2 that worked for me, and both of them worked. I just would have had to do something a little different. It would have affected me just a little bit, but nothing major. Was the Obamacare, and I had the option to get my insurance through work. I got the same insurance the guys at the plant got, and I pay the same rate. Now that I've turned 59 and a half last year, I don't, mine only won't go up like it will on the guys at the plant. If they decide they need to pay 22% instead of 20% of their part, well, mine stays at 20. So it'll go up because the insurance goes up, not because the percentage of them guys are paying. But I pay a little more for that, you know, but it's better insurance. So, you know, I mean, if I'd went out without a pension, maybe I would have went with that. But pension pretty much covers my insurance, so it's not something I'll worry about. It just, you know, and since hey man, I think we live high on the hog, Doc. But according to a lot of people nowadays, we're poverty stricken. You know, there's no chance of me hitting the daggone IRMA limits. Just absolutely no daggone chance. I mean, it doesn't take us that much to live, man. We are not a poster children for daggone retirement, I can tell you that. You know, we don't do a darn thing other than just enjoy living in the way we want to live. You know, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't have to worry about none of that stuff, and that daggone low effort video really affects me. You know, I mean, a lot of people say, hey man, I'm wasting stuff or whatever by not, you know, reaching for the, you know, optimizing things. But I mean, you know, why fix something if it ain't broke? You know, there's very little that I had to do that affect anything at all about my daggone retirement. It just is, you know, the little tweaks I made, like going into retirement with a daggone truck loan. You know, it didn't make no difference in my retirement whether I took it in retirement or not. I purposely didn't pay it off before I left because it acted like a daggone automatic raise to me. All I had to do was live long enough to pay it off. I mean, you know, because that money was dedicated to the truck payment. Once I paid it off, I mean, it was like getting a 10% raise. So, and I had 2 of them set up the first 5 years of my retirement. You know, that little pension come in this year, that was another $400. So, I mean, I got a 20% raise in the first 5 years of my daggone retirement. I didn't do a darn thing. It's just the way it worked out. I appreciate all your confidence in me, but man, I'm telling you, man, retirement for me, financially wise, was not Not that big a daggone deal. Because I didn't have to do a darn thing. You know, it just worked out that way. You know, and we got a little lucky along the way. I mean, I never discount luck, man, because a lot of what I did was for other reasons, but it turned out to be a benefit to me when I retired. Just like working multiple jobs over my life, you know, at one time. You know, unbeknownst to me, I didn't think about it. I worked them because I needed the money. But it actually is what raised my daggone Social Security. You know, 30 grand back in 1980 was worth a whole lot more today because they index it. I mean, that's raised my indexed amount. You know, my actual amount is probably about half of what my index amount is. So I'm getting double the insurance that I would have got if I'd only, you know, tried to make do with what little bit we made. Which we made good money, man. We made, you know, about what the median household income is for the county I live in. So, you know, we weren't poverty stricken. We had our tight spots like everybody else. But somehow we got through them. And, you know, but nah, man, I didn't plan for squat. I didn't even save for retirement. I saved for a rainy day. When the rainy days didn't happen, you know, that money was still sitting there for me to use for retirement. I concentrated on the day and let, you know, tomorrow take care of itself. You know, I tried to make the right decision. A lot of times we didn't, but it wasn't big enough to screw anything up. But hey, man, I hope that cleared things up. If you got a question, just give me a holler. I'll see what I can do. Y'all take care of yourselves, man. Make it a great week, and we'll talk to y'all later.